Hey, y'all. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Unfeigned, the podcast. I'm Jay. I'll be your host. And this episode is the first episode in a brand new series that we're doing. This series, like I mentioned in the little teaser that I put out before, is going to be heavy. It's going to hit different. It's very personal. And my prayer is that it's also very impactful. This series I'm calling After the Break, Restoring Marriage After Infidelity. So before we dive in, I want to put a little disclaimer out there. This series has been on my heart for obvious reasons. It's a very crucial aspect of my story, but it's been on my heart and on my mind, and it's something that's so common in so many relationships, so many marriages. And it's unfortunate and it's sad, but there is this destructive wave that affects so many marriages. And it's this idea of infidelity, right? And that could be physical affairs, it could be chatting, it could be a number of different things. But I wanted to do a series about this, and the disclaimer is that while this may sound like it's only for married couples, right? In the title itself, After the Break, Restoring Marriage After Infidelity. I have a heart for marriages. I have a heart for broken marriages. I have a heart for restoring marriages. But I also have a heart for discovering the perfect marriage. I also have a heart for single people who want to be in a relationship that they've been designed to be in. A relationship that's supposed to work the way it was designed and created to work. And so the disclaimer here is that this is not just for married couples. This is not just for couples or people in a relationship. This series, while it will touch on primarily on the things that surround infidelity in a marriage and how to restore and repair and redeem that, it will touch primarily on those things. But while it does that, there are lessons in this series that single people looking to be in a relationship or hoping to be in a relationship in the future, there are lessons that can be applied to that very same situation. So whether you're married, whether you're single, whether you're in a dating relationship, whatever it is, this series is for you. And so let's dive in. I'm going to give a little bit of background where this series is coming from and the foundation, where it's rooted. But I want y'all to know that this series is going to involve a number of things. It's going to involve honesty, transparency, vulnerability. It's going to involve warmth. It's going to involve truth. It's going to involve challenge. Okay, every episode will speak directly to both the betrayed partner and the unfaithful partner as well. My hope is that this series can help both of those people, both the betrayed partner and unfaithful partner, help them both walk together through grief, right? And help walk both of those parties through healing a broken marriage and restoring a broken marriage. Okay, this series is going to involve confrontation, forgiveness, redemption. And like I said, it's going to be heavy. And when I say that, I'm speaking of myself, but I also understand, please hear me, I understand that you may be listening to this and you may have gone through an affair. Your marriage may have been destroyed because of an affair or infidelity in whatever form. You may be the one that was betrayed, or you may be the one that did the betraying. And so I understand deeply the effect this can have on you if that's you listening to this right now. So y'all, we're in this together. I want you to know that you're not alone, and we're in this together. And at times it might get personal. At times it might feel heavy, and that's okay. It is heavy. And so if it feels like that, it's just the truth, the real, the raw that's coming out. So y'all, I am so excited that you're with me on this journey, and I pray that you would stay to the end. I also hope and I pray that you would connect with me. I know that marriages are hurting. I know that marriages were not designed to be broken. There is a very clear design for marriage and what a relationship should look like. And it's not brokenness. And I know that there's marriages and there's relationships and there are people that are hurting that might be you. It might be somebody you know. You may be listening to this right now, and I hope that you would reach out and you would connect with me. Go to the website unfeigned.org, UNFEIGNED.org. Okay, when you go to that website, you'll be able to get everything there. Most importantly, you'll be able to contact me. You'll be able to get in touch with me. All right, so let's dive in. This first episode in this series, which again I'm very excited about, but it's scary. It's a bit scary because this series is going to force me to revisit areas of my life that I've healed from. Not that it's a bad thing to go back. Not that it's a bad thing to remember. It's actually a good thing. It's a good thing to remember. It's a good thing to revisit. It's not about the revisiting. It's about what you do with it, what you've learned from it, where you go from that. But this series is going to force me to revisit areas of my life that I've healed from, areas of my life that, if I'm being really honest, which I am, I honestly don't want to sit in very long. It was painful, and it's still painful. The regret, the shame, the hurt, the pain that I felt, and more importantly, that I caused. It's not comfortable. It's very painful. It involves a lot of suffering. And this series is going to force me to revisit those places. And so this first episode, I'm calling The Impact, naming what broke. So we have to understand something. And this is a common theme over this whole podcast, honestly. Before there's healing, there has to be truth. So we're going to dive into what that looks like. So if you're listening right now, or maybe you know somebody that should be listening, pause this and go get them. But if you're listening right now, I want you to know something. I don't take this moment lightly. I don't take this topic lightly. I hope I've been able to communicate that. I hope you can get that. But please understand that I do not take this lightly, and I won't ever. A couple of things that this series is not about also. This series is not about pointing fingers. It's not about quick fixes. It's not about hiding behind the phrase that a lot of people will tell you that goes, God will work it out, without actually doing the work. It's not what this is about. So what is it about? This series is about what happens when the marriage has been shattered by betrayal. When one of you, or both, stepped outside the covenant. When one of you was left reeling. When trust was broken, hearts were crushed. Everything feels like it's just hanging on by a thread. This series is about truth. It's about repair. It's about restoration. And I want you to hear something. Hear this. Healing is possible. Restoration is possible. I've said this before on many previous episodes. I believe any relationship can be restored. Any relationship can be healed, regardless of the degree of brokenness. But it begins with naming what broke. So on this episode, today, we don't skip to forgiveness. We're not going to rush to reconciliation. We're going to start where every honest story has to start, and that's with the impact. So, as we dive in, remember, if you are single and hoping to be in a relationship that's supposed to be the way it was meant to be, then pay attention and glean from all of this. Okay, I want to start with the couple sitting in the aftermath. Okay, there's pain on both sides of it, but you have to understand there's very different kinds of pain. So if you were the one who had the affair, you were the one doing the betraying, you might be filled with regret. You may have confessed already, or maybe you got caught. You may want to say, I'm sorry, and let's move on, because the shame could be eating you alive. You may want to fix it, and you may want to fix it fast. Because honestly, watching your spouse cry, shut down, explode, it makes you feel like a monster. But I need you to know something. You can't rush this, because what broke was trust. And trust doesn't grow back that fast. It doesn't grow back in a hurry. Before healing, there must be truth. Before comfort, there must be cost. And before restoration, there must be reality. You have to acknowledge what you did without deflecting, without blaming, without minimizing. And if you were the one that was betrayed, if you were the one that had this done to you, you're not crazy. I need you to hear that. You are not crazy. You are not too much. You are not weak for still loving someone who hurt you. What happened to you was trauma. It was a trauma. It was traumatic. An affair is an emotional and a spiritual and often a physical betrayal. And I hope that you get this. The pain, it's layered. There's grief, rage, numbness, confusion, fear, shame that may not even belong to you. And your job in this season of your life is not to pretend to be okay. It's to feel what you feel and to name what it's cost you. As I've done in previous episodes, I've introduced this method or this model or this process that I've called pause. And the word pause is an acronym. Each letter stands for something. And at first I thought it was a neat way, a cool tool for y'all to have, for me to have, for us to use to regulate our emotions. And it works. It really does. It really works. And so I thought it was a cool thing, but I've learned that this method can be used in most every area of our life. So we're going to go through how the pause method can work in this situation. So the first letter P stands for pause. Okay, so slow down. Don't try to fix, don't try to rush. Just sit in the discomfort of the truth. I know that's uncomfortable. I know that's painful. Believe me, I know. Just take a breath. If you have to repeat this, God is with us even here. Convince yourself, talk to yourself. We will not rush what must be felt. I need y'all to get that. That's so important. I think, and it's natural, I think it's inevitable, that in situations like this, we want the pain to stop. We want the suffering to stop. We don't want to feel that way. And so what do? We rush to try to fix it. We rush to try to make that go away. But what we're doing is we're counteracting our healing. Because in order for us to heal from this deep wound, we have to sit in that pain. We have to sit in that truth, because whether we like it or not, that the truth of all this involves pain and suffering. And so we have to sit in it. So just pause, just slow down. The next letter A is for assess, right? And let me pause for one second. That's actually kind of funny. I actually mean, let me take a second. I want to remind y'all of something. When we're going through this series, and I'm going to mention a lot about how I think every relationship can be restored and every relationship can be healed. And there is a prerequisite to that. And y'all have to hear this, because I do believe every relationship could be healed, and I do believe every relationship can be restored, no matter what the degree of brokenness is, no matter what caused it, no matter what happened. However, that it has to be said that both parties have to want to heal. Both parties have to be willing to do what it takes. Okay, both parties have to fall into this model: choose, commit, confront. Right? If one partner is saying, I want to restore this, I want to heal this, I want to make it work, I want to figure it, I want to work it out, I want to figure this all out, and I want to have the marriage or the relationship that we were destined to have, that we were designed to have, that we were created to have, and the other partner is like, I'm done, I'm out. Well, then some of what I'm talking about doesn't really apply. And there's a different kind of healing that has to take place, honestly, before the marriage. And let me say this: before you get to working on the marriage part of the healing, there has to be some real individual healing that takes place, some real shifts and changes that have to take place individually. And that's a whole separate issue, which I can help you with that too. But what I'm talking about specifically in this series would be two people in a relationship, and single people, take notes, make mental notes here, okay? Because if you're hoping to be in a relationship, all of these things apply to that relationship when you're there. But this series will apply to two people in a relationship that both understand the brokenness, regardless of which one understands to what degree, but they both see that it's broken, and they both don't want it to stay broken. They both want to fix it. They both want it to be healed. Okay? All right, so let's move on. So the A in pause stands for assess. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to ask each other, what am I feeling right now? And you can do this to yourself too. You can ask yourself. These questions apply to asking yourself as well. But what am I feeling right now? What emotions have I been hiding? What do I want the other person to understand about what this did to me? Right? Each of you should allow the other one wholeheartedly, without defending or correcting, to speak. Because this is, remember, this is the truth. We're naming it. We're naming what happened, right? We're sitting in this truth of what happened. And so you have to be true about what you're feeling, about what emotions you may have been hiding. And then you have to get raw. You have to get real about, what did this do to you? And you have to speak it. The U stands for uncover. And so this, the pause, the first letter is easy, where you just calm down for a second. You just take a step back. Then you start to get into the hard work, right? Well, the U for uncover, that's hard, because you have to go back to these emotions. You have to dig deep, right? You have to answer, what are the deeper wounds this affair triggered? Because yes, it hurts. An affair hurts. An affair wounds. An affair destroys. And the pain is immediate, and it's surface, but there's also ripple effects. And so you have to investigate, what are the deeper wounds this affair triggered? Is it abandonment? Insecurities? Maybe your whole life you didn't feel like you were enough, right? Get in the habit of naming what this betrayal represents emotionally for both of you. And then you move on to the next letter, which is S, and that stands for shift. This is literally pivotal. And this is the fork in the road. This is the pivot. This right here will determine the path. And that stands for shift. You're going to shift from silence to truth-telling. You're going to shift from denial to full presence, fully exposed. And that's not easy. It's a simple thing, but it's not easy. It's far from easy. And then the last letter in pause is E, and that stands for engage. Okay. And that simply means to choose in that moment to just stay, not fix, not solve, just stay present, be present in that pain together. Okay. I need y'all to remember something, that this series is a teaching environment, maybe. Trying to think of the words to describe what I'm trying to communicate, but it's much more than just providing information. It's much more than just telling a story. It's much more than just a challenge or an encouragement or a, hey, if you do this, these things work. It's much more than that, because I want Unfeigned not to be about me. I want it to be about this movement of healing where people's lives are being changed and healed. I want people's relationships to be healed. I want people's marriages to be healed. And so these series that I do are much more than just teaching or providing information. I want you to do it. I want you to try it. I want this to be a catalyst to something. I want this to affect change. And so we're about to get a little uncomfortable here. Okay? I want you to try something. Okay? I want you to sit with your spouse or your partner. I want you to sit with your partner, and I want you to look them in the eyes, which for, for a lot of you, that's going to be uncomfortable already. Like, we don't even have to go on. You're just like, okay, this is about the level of uncomfortability that I can handle right now. Okay. But I mean, if we're being, this isn't something to joke about. I don't take it lightly, but I don't know. I guess I felt like I wanted to lighten the mood a bit. But if we're being honest, maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's part of the problem, is that y'all never sat and looked into each other's eyes. Maybe you can't look into each other's eyes and know that person. Maybe that's the problem. And that's a great start. That's a fantastic start. Being able to sit and look into each other's eyes and not make it a quote unquote thing, right? An uncomfortable moment. So I want you to do this. I want you to sit with your partner, and I want you to look them in the eyes, and I want you to answer these questions. Remember, this is about betrayal. And this isn't about accusations. This is about restoring a relationship, a marriage. This is important work. And if you're not willing to do whatever it takes, then you don't really want your marriage restored, do you? So answer these questions. Ask your spouse this, and both should do this. Do you understand what your decision cost them? So if I were asking you, do you understand what your decision cost me? Okay. Another question to answer. What did you do specifically? Sorry, I should have prefaced these questions. Let me back up just a bit. And this series of questions, I got ahead of myself. Sorry. This series of questions is for the unfaithful partner. So if you are the one that has been betrayed, you're going to ask these of your partner. You're going to ask your partner to answer these. So you're going to look into your partner's eyes. These questions, again, remember, they're for the unfaithful partner. You're going to say, do you understand what your decision cost me? You're going to ask them, what did you do specifically? You're going to ask them, what were you seeking that you did not ask me for? And then you're going to ask them, what pain in you contributed to this choice? These questions are important. And if you all really want to restore your marriage, if you really want to heal this brokenness in your marriage, you have to be willing to answer these truthfully, vulnerably. And you have to be transparent, fully exposed. This is not about shame. It's not about pointing fingers and accusing and defending and it's not about that. It's about ownership. It's about taking responsibility, being accountable, owning what you did. because you want it to heal. Because there's no healing without extremely radical truth. So for the betrayed partner, okay, these questions are going to be for the betrayed partner. So if you're the one that committed the affair or were the one committing the infidelity, you're going to look at your partner who you did this to, and you're going to ask them these questions. You're going to ask them, what did you need? What do you need to say without fear or judgment? What do you need to say without fear of judgment? What lies have you started believing about yourself? Ask them, what are you afraid to feel? Then ask them, what would healing even look like to you? And again, you have to understand this is about healing a marriage. This is about restoring a broken relationship. Y'all have to get deep. You have to get real. You have to get raw. You have to get truthful. Fully exposed, not hiding anything. And I understand the difficulty in having the person who betrayed you, having your husband or your wife or your partner, the one that betrayed you, that did this to you. I understand the difficulty of allowing them to ask you questions. But this isn't about you. This isn't about him or her. This is about healing. This is about both of you together. Okay, this isn't about pretending to forgive. It's about giving a voice to your heartbreak, a language to your heartbreak. So something I like to do in this series, in all these series that I've been doing, is to offer practical tools, practical things that all of us can do tangibly that will lead or affect change, right? That will quote unquote fix things, right? So something that would be a really, really impactful thing to do. And I may have some ground rules for each of these too, so please pay attention. Something that would be really impactful to do is to write a letter. Where each of you write a letter. And you're writing a letter to the other person. You're writing a letter to your spouse or your partner. And just as a simple guide, obviously you can use what I say word for word, but you don't have to. But for the betrayed spouse, your letter could start something like, "This is how your betrayal affected me." For the unfaithful spouse, it could go something like, "This is what I did and what I'm learning about why." These letters, keep in mind, and here's some ground rules, these letters, depending on where y'all are at in your healing journey, in your restorative journey for your marriage, these may not be read aloud at the moment. Okay, there is a time, there will be a time, and maybe it's appropriate now, maybe this is the moment. Each situation is unique and it's specific to y'all. I would love to help y'all with that in whatever, wherever you're at in your journey. But these letters that you're writing, they're intended to be written, they're intended to be felt, and then they are intended to get we use a statement in our family a lot. We used to, where we say throw up at the mouth, right? What we mean by that is we're just going to lay it all out there. We're just going to talk. We're going to say a lot of words. We're going to say a lot of things, or it could be a lot of something about a certain subject. But that's what I want you to do. That's what this letter is about. It's about just letting your heart bleed all over the paper. There is an intention, there is a goal of sharing that letter with your spouse or partner at some point, but that's not the focus of this episode. So write a letter. Another thing is making an agreement. No more minimizing agreement. So you can say this aloud. Say, "I will not minimize the damage I will not rush healing. I will stay present for this journey. This becomes the foundation. This becomes the starting point. This becomes your ground zero. A really good structure. My lord. Yeah, sometimes English is like, nope, not today, buddy. So a really good scripture to read, to meditate on, is Psalm 34:18. It says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." As you read that, or as you hear me say it, let it sink in. Understand this, you're not alone. You're not alone in this devastation. This betrayal is devastating. It's destructive. It's evil. But you're not alone in it. Also understand that God does not abandon broken places. There's nothing too broken for God. There's nothing that will cause him to rethink his love for you. He's in it with you. Something that might help encourage you. During the time of my life, after my betrayal was discovered, and the years after that, all the way up to my healing and beyond, through my healing, my faith was important. God was important. My relationship with Jesus was important. Oh my gosh, I can't speak. Important? What is that? Reading scripture was important. All of this became extremely important to me at some point. I went back and forth. I was on a roller coaster. I was on an emotional roller coaster. I went back and forth between I love God, I hate God. You are real, you're not real. Why not? You've abandoned me. Oh, you're right here with, thank you for being with me. So I believe in God, I don't. I trust God, I don't. Like, I went back and forth over all of this. So faith was always a part of my journey. But at some point, I got it. And so I want this to encourage you. Okay? I say this a lot, whether you believe it or not, or whether you like it or not, that doesn't matter. Because it's true, because it's true. It's irregardless of how we feel or what we think. Truth is truth because it's truth, period. But I also want to let you know that this works. It works. And if you don't believe me, let's have a conversation, because I can tell you stories. But it works. And so be encouraged and pray. Say, God, this is messy. We're hurting. We're angry. We're lost. We're broken. But we want to see what you can do with shattered things. We want to see how you can put the pieces back together. Help us to name what's broke. Give us the courage to tell the truth and to stay present. Let this not be the end of our story, but the beginning of something new. Amen. Y'all, I know this was episode 1, and I mentioned how heavy this series is going to be and how I'm going to have to revisit these areas of my life. And so I want you to know a few things in closing. Okay. As I close out this episode, I want to thank you. So great. Oh my Lord, with this English thing. I am so grateful. I really am. I'm so grateful for y'all. But I know I say that a lot, how thankful and how grateful I am for y'all, how much I love that you're on this journey, how awesome it is that you listen to this podcast. It still blows my mind. It's still overwhelming that I even do a podcast. But you know what really gets me at the heart level is that y'all are willing to fight. Y'all are willing to do what it takes. Not just married people, people in a relationship, but single people too. All of you that are listening to this right now, you're willing to fight. You're willing to do what it takes to be healed and to have a relationship that's healed, to have that perfect relationship. And you're willing to do what it takes to restore all the brokenness, to heal all the brokenness, to fix all the broken pieces and build something beautiful, even better than it was. And that's why I'm doing this series. That's my hope. So I just want you to remember a few things as we close out. You don't rebuild a house without acknowledging the fire. If something happens to your house and destroys it, you don't rebuild the house and never acknowledge or consider the reason it was destroyed. This episode was about staring straight at the wreckage and choosing to stand in it together. See, y'all, like I said, I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful for y'all, but I'm proud of you. I'm proud of y'all for doing this. This is the work. And this work is not for the faint of heart. It's for the brave, right? There's a saying that my family and I used to say, and I still say it, but you're not brave if you're not scared. It's scary. It's scary. It makes anxious, nervous, because you have to go into these really painful places in order to heal it. So y'all, on the next episode, we're going to go a little bit deeper. Okay, we're going to talk about what radical honesty looks like. All right, no half-truths, no partial truths, no filtered confessions, right? We're going to talk about what it means to have full, nothing held back honesty, because that's what builds foundations for trust. Y'all listen as we finish up here. If you haven't listened to the entirety of this podcast, not this episode, but the whole podcast, then you may not know my story. If you have, then you have a good idea of my story. And you know that there has been infidelity in my story. And that is what led to the destruction of my marriage. This was many years ago. I've since healed from it. But the path to healing for me involved a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, a lot of emotions, a lot of darkness. And y'all, I'm saying this because I don't want, how do I say this? I don't want you to view this podcast or this series specifically as another self-help type thing. I don't want you to hear this, to listen to it, although, it could be entertaining, right? Any podcast could be entertaining. Any podcast could be informational. But I don't want you to listen to this podcast and just think it's a cool informational thing that you're getting to hear a story about some guy's life. I want you to know that when I say I've been to hell and back, I mean it. And I don't ever want to go back to hell. I know what that's like. But I also know what it's like to be on the other end. I know what it's like to be healed. And my heart cries out for y'all that are in the same position as I was, or maybe heading in the same direction that I was. And I want this podcast, and specifically this series, to provide hope. And I don't want it to just be purely informational. I want it to be directional. I want it to be a guide, a map. And if you can take something from my story, if you can take something from these episodes that I'm telling you, that's all based on my story, and you can put that into your life, and you can follow that, or you can let it lead you to a place of healing, then everything is worth it. Going to hell was worth it. Going through that pain and suffering was all worth it. If I can help someone not go there, if I can help a single person heal in their personal life and find a relationship, the love that they've been pursuing or wanting or desiring for their whole life, And maybe if you're single and you were in a relationship and it didn't work out and you're like, will I ever find the relationship that I dream of? Is it really possible? Is it real? Is it out there? It is. And I want to help you find it. And if you're in a relationship, whether dating or married, I want you to have the perfect relationship. It is possible. And I know that some of you listening may laugh or giggle or sneer or whatever it is when I say the perfect relationship, because I understand that we're all imperfect. We all have imperfections, right? I get that. But it is possible to have the perfect relationship. And if you're super confused about what I mean by that, then let's talk. But that's what these episodes are about. And I want y'all to find that. And even if it's not a new relationship that you discover, but it's your current relationship that's broken, and in your mind might be looking at your relationship as so far beyond repair, well, I want you to know, I want to tell you that is not true. I'm also not saying that every relationship should be a thing. I'm not saying that every relationship should be restored. That's a whole nother topic. What I'm talking about is y'all both desire this perfect relationship. Y'all both understand the brokenness that's in your relationship. Y'all both want better. But all you see is beyond repair and have no clue what to do, how to do it, when to do it, where to do it. And you just are lost and you feel like you're wandering. You feel like you're just roommates. You feel like you lost everything that was there in the beginning, or maybe you didn't even know if you ever had it. And so I don't want you to just look at these episodes as informational or fun stories about some guy's life and what he went through and how he overcame. I'm hoping, specifically with this series, that you'll get that it is possible, that nothing is beyond repair, that you can have that perfect relationship. And if you're single, you can have that perfect relationship. Y'all, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to speak into your lives like this. Like I said, the original purpose for this podcast was to use my story to help even just one person. And if I've done that, it's all worth it. So I really hope that this podcast as a whole has touched your heart, but I really hope that this episode, this series, if this applies to your life, if you're going through these things, these situations, I really hope that it will affect change in your life and in your relationships. Y'all, go to the website, unfeigned.org. You can get everything right on that website. A couple things is, just as like, I guess, housekeeping. Usually I guess you do this in the beginning, but it's whatever. Last Friday of every month, we have our healing out. Y'all, sorry. I have to apologize. Y'all, this episode has like English left my body for some reason. I don't even know why. Healing Out Loud series every last Friday of every month. The last Friday of every month, we do our Healing Out Loud series, which is when I dive into questions, I answer questions, I give advice based off of what y'all as the listeners have submitted through the website. And we always get some really great questions. So there's some more that have been coming in, and it's always exciting to answer these questions because while your question is being answered or the advice that you're seeking is being offered, someone else who didn't submit something on the website may be going through the same thing. And so ultimately, it's answering more questions than just yours. And I love that. And so you can get that on the website. If you really want to go deep into these episodes, not even into these episodes, but like this podcast, these episodes have affected you, they've encouraged you, they've changed you, but you're like, I want more. I want to go deeper because some of this you could take as information and it's the what. A lot of it is the what, right? And I do give some tools and things like that, and that dips into the how. But if you really want to go deep and figure out the how, then connect with me, right? I want to help you. I want to work with you. You can do all that stuff on the website. You can check out all the coaching stuff that we do, and You can sign up for stuff right there. You can also support the podcast. So if you're just like, man, this is great, I love this podcast, um, and I may be exaggerating for you, I don't know. But if you're like, yeah, this is great, I love it. It's really encouraging me. It's touched me. Or yes, I'm on board, brother. Like, I love what you're talking about, and I want more people to experience this. You may have healed, right? You may not be broken. You may not have a broken relationship, but you want other people to experience healing. And you're like, yes, I want to support you in what you're doing. Awesome. Glad you said that. There's a way you can do it. Go on the website and you can support the podcast. You can make a one-time donation, or you can become a monthly supporter. All of this allows us to reach even further, have a greater impact. Again, this is about a movement of healing. This isn't about Jay Miller. This is about a movement of healing where we see people's lives healed from brokenness, where we see relationships healed from brokenness. And you can be a part of that by helping support the podcast. One last thing, I'm working on something really cool, really exciting, trying to figure it all out. I have this creative mind, and all these thoughts are flowing around, and I'm considering something really cool that could be another avenue to affect change in this movement of healing. Just trying to figure it all out. So just be on the lookout for that. Bunch of details I got to flesh out still, but I'll make some small announcements here and there as I get closer. Just be on the lookout for that. Y'all, thank you so much. Really, I appreciate y'all. I can't say that enough. Till next time, see you then.